Welcome back, baby faces. Vic the villain here. Let's see who's making her way to the ring.
JP Savage, yes sir.
Mischief, you heard?
And who's that I see with us? Is that the 16? The number 16 from the Women's Royal Rumble?
What?
And number 1 in our hearts?
Hey,
The Queen of Mean?
Who's that?
Vickie Guerrero. How are you doing today? Love it.
Oh man.
How are you? My God, thank you for blessing us with your time. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Alrighty.
Well, welcome to Shooting the Ish, Vickie Guerrero. We love to have you. We love to have you here today with us. Tell us what have you been up to lately?
Gosh, there's so much I've been up to. Let's see. I just graduated from college with my bachelor's of science in healthcare administration.
That's exciting.
Congratulations.
I'm not buying another notebook in my life ever again.
Trust me, we know what you mean.
Yeah.
I went to school for 6 years, with going with WWE on the road and then trying to study. It was a lot, in airports, trying to take a test before you board a flight.
Damn.
I had anxiety for a couple of times.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Question for you. Who in the locker room was actually a big help with your homework?
Oh, that's a great one.
No one.
No one. All those son of a bitches, nobody would help.
Damn.
Wow.
Oh, well, let's put it.
Where the hell was Dean Douglas at?
No, let's put it this way. I didn't ask for any help. How's that, gentlemen?
Ah, there you go.
Because you had this shit under control. Okay.
Holding it down.
I see you.
But, I traveled with Tamina and Oksana at the time. So they were really great with me. They went out for the night. They knew I had homework. They were really, they were great with me. They understood if I had to get up early and, take notes or attend a class. It was great. They just kind of, they slept in while I went to school. How's that?
Cool.
Sounds like the grind.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you must have been an amazing inspiration for your daughters, especially being a full-time performer and on top of that, going to school. Oh, my God.
It was, I really did it for myself first, but really to be a role model for the girls and also for other women too, because a lot of women were like, how do you go to school and travel and come home and be a mom and then, do other projects, but you learn time management pretty well. So, it all worked out. But I'm also writing my autobiography with Life with Eddie, which has been very memorable, because he got to tell his side of the story, and his story was so great. I still can't read through his book. To this day.
Oh, wow.
Because I hear his voice and I hear just different stories, and I end up crying. So my daughters have read through it, but I knew what the story was already because I was there when he wrote it. But it's still close to my heart. So that's hard to read. But my book's coming out. It's going to be Life with Eddie and then Life After Eddie. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about.
I can't wait to read that book. I know what you said in prior interviews and whatnot, that what you're doing with it, you're doing a 2-part where one part is the wife at home with the kids, and then the other part is as a superstar. Wow.
Yeah,
that's going to be a great read.
It's a really different story. There's very few women that have done both sides of the camera, raising a family. My story is a little different because Eddie, of course, had his demons and the alcohol issues. But to see me talk about his sobriety and how he got clean, it's just a great inspiration story. And now the fans can hear from my side because, Eddie's story was great, but there's just so much more to people that are living with someone that's going through addictions and alcoholism that no one ever asked how I was doing. So my book is going to let everybody know how I was doing. So it's a lot of memories, and then also my success story of being a WWE superstar by surprise. So that's it's pretty remarkable when I write about my life. How fantastic it was and is. So I'm excited to share with everyone.
The reach on that is going to be tremendous. You can reach so many right off the bat from what you just said there, and then I can't wait. Like I said before,
I'm definitely looking forward to the book. Just the fact that I keep hearing in different interviews you are on about how emotional you become in meeting superstars that have been influenced by Eddie, such like Sasha. So I can imagine how emotional this book must have been to write. So I'm looking forward to hearing those descriptive details of that beautiful time in your life.
Yeah, what's amazing is that when me and Eddie were living and we separated and got back together, you really don't hear about the fans and how Eddie affected their lives because Eddie's alive and we're going through our day-to-day activities, but then when he passed and all the fans just kind of opened up and you hear about all these great inspiration stories, and now we have social media because when Eddie was around there wasn't a lot of social media.
No.
So I wonder how he would have taken to that, being on the internet. He probably made me write everything for him. But
Wow.
it's just, I think it's a very different world after he's passed because, it's just that technology overtakes everyone's life. And that's why y'all know so much about me.
Of course. Well,
Yes.
we here at HCC Podcast, we're tremendous Eddie Guerrero fans. One being Latino. And the fact that he was such a versatile wrestler, I mean, across so many, all around the world,
Yes.
so recognized and an amazing, a legend. I mean, honestly, one of our top wrestlers we look up to. We have merchandise of his as well. But I honestly, that's why you were so over as well, because the people loved you. They saw the love, they saw the loyalty. And then
And
at the
hate.
end of the day, and the hate. And that's the thing that you can't forget the talent. The talent. I mean, you put yourself over like no one else. I mean, this is why you are the queen. And that's why we have you on the show, because we're here to pop the Chairshots.
I
And we
wouldn't
can't go
say
on without having Vickie Guerrero on the show.
I wouldn't say she put herself over, but she knew how to get heat like almost none other.
Are you driving right
I was. I'm so talented. It's crazy.
now? If shit happens to you, you don't know me, okay?
No, I'm kidding.
We'll just play mute on this recording.
My wife was driving. And now she parked.
Such a liar, man. You're such a liar.
He's a devoted husband. He had to pick up his wife.
See, what happened was.
Okay, at least make
Speaking
it
of wives, you share a birthday with my wife, so I'm definitely now on my wife, and I gotta send you a message as well because this is happening every year.
Thank you.
Vicky, one of the things that we remember about you is how you were able to draw heat, and by all accounts, you loved it. Talk about it. How was it to be able to stand in the ring and just draw that heat?
Well, at first it was very, it was hard, because I did work with Eddie before he passed, for the Dominic
Yes.
case.
How can we forget? Especially with its resurgence.
Yeah.
I had Eddie there, I had Ray there. So the kids, we had that big support. We had a lot of help. We really didn't do a lot of verbiage or anything to make the storyline go sour. It was all Eddie and Ray, doing all the work. Wow. So to be by myself in front of a camera, the first 2-3 months, I sucked. I mean, it was pretty lonely up there for a while because I was like, man, I am horrible at this. Like, what did they think that they were going to see in me? But I had a lot of great help.
Though.
Huh?
First day, though.
Yeah. I had a lot of great friends on the road, like Dusty Rhodes and Teddy Long and Vince McMahon was a big help to me. So I had a lot of people that told me that I sucked politely and that I was horrible and we need to work on a few things. But
Okay.
I think that when I got to be with Edge, having him kind of nurture me, he really took me under his wing, and he just kind of showed me all the ropes, like how to work with the camera, where to stand. When he needed me in a certain angle, it was, he goes, I want you on this corner, so I don't care how you get there, but I need you here, when this happens. So it was a lot of me learning my confidence. I had to learn that I could do this, by myself without Eddie being around. And so I loved it, though. As more I got into my character and I believed in what I was doing and I was happy with my character. I mean, what woman could be a bitch and be an authority figure and slap men, slap women, and have so much fun in the ring. I was loving this, you know. I grew to love it, and so I think each day that I was on in front of the camera, I just got more and more confident, and I was loving the whole role.
Wow. And what a ride, because a Latina woman, that's who.
Yeah. You know, but the more that, you know, it's almost like, you know, Teddy Long tells me you have the crowd in your hand, you know, and what are you going to do with that crowd? Are you going to make them happy? Are you going to piss them off? You know, and it's what you want to do with it, because when you're in the middle of that ring, it's you and the camera and there's no one there to help you. So my goal was to, of course, try and, you know, make the crowd feel welcome, and all my bullshit ways of, welcome to Friday Night Smackdown, you know, and I really didn't give a shit because I knew I was going to, like, piss them off, you know. And I think by the time I had, like, 4 words out, people were already throwing me fingers. I'm like, let's go. It's already on. Let's go.
Yes. Oh, my God. It's so much fun to be bad, isn't it?
Yeah. I loved it. It was watching Eddie a lot, too, that I got to learn how he lied and cheated and stole, and how he could take the fans and make them believe that he was really going to be a nice guy, and then, you know, flip it, and then he had pissed everybody off. And I love that. But I guess God had this, you know, path for me that I was with Eddie. I watched him. I learned from him, but I never understood why I had to listen to all that for so long. But looking back, I'm like, okay, God, then this is why I watched Eddie so much. And I just picked up things from him, and I use that for my character.
Wow. I definitely knew for a fact you were having so much fun being bad, especially when in your last match, not the Royal Rumble, but we're talking about the Hog fight that you had in the pool there with the mud fight. Yes.
Yeah.
You have to bring up the mud fight, didn't you?
But the reason why is because I am a little bit of a garbage, right? But listen, I thought it was one of the most touching things because, one, I'm like, if this is really her last way, I mean, it just shows what type of a company person she was, right? She did it for the brand, and she went out whatever way they want her to. But at the same time, when she said thank you, bro, it brought tears to my eyes because I understood where it came from. So that for me, it's an amazing moment.
Thank you. You know, I gave WWE a year notice, you know, because I had just started school, and I told Vince and Stephanie, I said, I'm going to give you a year before I leave. And they didn't believe me. They're like, yeah, whatever, Guerrero, you know, we'll talk later. But I really wanted to do other things because I was there for 10 years, you know, and in the WWE, I didn't want to get my, you know, we wish you the best in your future endeavors, you know, I wasn't going to be one of those.
And it happened.
I gave them enough time to prepare, you know, because I was the general manager, and to let them, you know, put me off the show, you know, professionally. And I gave them the, you know, that much time. But that night for the match, we didn't know how it was going to be or how I was going to leave the show. And as the day started going on, they were saying, okay, we're thinking of a mud match. And I'm like, of course you are. You know?
You think that was Vince doing?
Yeah, you know, and so...
It's good shit. It's good shit.
And I thought it was really going to be me and Stephanie in the ring, you know? So I was training. I was, like, running. And I was like, man, she's going to kick my ass, and I need to look good out there. You know? But when she... You know, they switched it to the mud match, and of course I had, I think, Rosa, Layla, and Alicia Fox. It was Stephanie sent out there, you know, to get me. You know, I knew there was going to be surprises. I mean, it couldn't be that calm, you know, for my last night. But the way that WWE surprised me, and, you know, with Stephanie actually letting me throw her into the mud, and then them signing me off with Eddie's music, just... At first, I was like, okay, I don't want to quit. I want to stay here a little bit longer. But it was good. It was a great farewell, and it was very special, and I always appreciate WWE for doing that for me.
Fantastic. You have the reputation of being such a company person, like being so great in terms of being open to whatever the storyline, you know, asked you to do.
Said.
No, it made for great character work because you put yourself in very uncomfortable positions, and it was always fun to see what's coming up next. What do you say to talent that has an issue with that really has an issue with the positions that the company puts them in?
Oh, now we're going to get into some dirt, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know,
let it fly.
There's a lot of people in the locker room back then when I was there, and even today, where all they want is they want the main event matches. They want to be in the spotlight. They want to be the ones that go over. They don't want, how dare they do a job, and that's where I learned, from just being there, that the more I said yes to with WWE was a food fight, a hog pin match, with Chavo. Just all the damn food fights I had to go through. I think that I was proving myself that I wasn't any better than anyone else, and that because I loved being there and doing my job, that they knew that I was going to be a good sport at saying yes to everything. And they always asked me if I was okay to get a cake in the face, or get Stephanie to throw up on me. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy about it, but I knew some way I was going to get through it. But those little things of me saying yes all the time, just I want to show them that I am here 100%. Whoever I'm working with, I'm going to have fun with you and make you shine like you're like the star that they deserve to be.
I mean, honestly, when you see the McMahons themselves doing this crazy shit, I mean, how could you say no, right?
Yeah, and to work
it's
with,
true.
I think Vince fired me maybe 6 times, during the 10 years, and Stephanie fired me like 4, and Triple H, fired me.
You must have had a good unemployment lawyer.
The unemployment wages were awesome. But back then a lot of people didn't work with the McMahons, so I was the older one in the locker room, so I was very open-eyed to what was going on. And when I saw, these young, fresh faces come in and they expected to have the red carpet thrown at them, and some would tell me, why are you agreeing to all these food fights and, all this, insulting of how fat I was, or, like the Edge wedding where Triple H came out with, I think, like size 6X underwear, that, just all that little stuff. But
Because they don't understand. They don't understand a thick Latina woman. I don't understand, They don't understand. That's all love.
They don't get
That's
it.
all
They
love.
don't get
They
it.
can't handle all that.
And they don't understand the accuracy either. Talk to them about that chancleta. Let them know about that chancleta. Come on, Vicky. You know you got it.
I know.
They don't know what's up.
Ahorita, ándele, mija, ándele.
Talk to us a little bit about that, man. How was the house, man? How was the madness in the house growing up, man? Living with Eddie and the 2 girls growing up. I'm sure there was tons of wrestling moves, body slams, and all of that. And you were like cringing as he,
No, the wrestling moves in bed were very nice. They didn't hurt at all. Let me just say that, okay? But Eddie was. It was a crazy household. We had Eddie was a prankster. He was he had to have the last laugh with everyone. It was a fun household. And this is before Eddie got into his drug abuse. And so those days, when I met Eddie, we just goofed off all the time. And Eddie, we loved to dance, and weddings were the first ones on the dance floor. We were the ones that were never afraid, to like kiss in public. I mean, it was just a very fun relationship. But Eddie was the biggest kid on the block. I don't know if you remember my Hall of Fame story when I inducted Eddie, that we had an apartment complex I lived in, and all the kids were having a squirt gun fight, and Eddie was like, I'm going to go play with the kids. I'm like, oh, okay. So he went outside and he told the kids, hey, I'll be back. There was like 16 kids playing with my girls. So Eddie went to the store and he bought all the kids small squirt guns, and he came back with the biggest bazooka squirt gun. Yeah. And everybody got
the pistols? Yeah, they didn't want it.
So like you had to manually do?
Yeah.
So he went and filled his up before he gave the kids their empty squirt guns.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember this story.
That's who Eddie was, so
yeah.
And that's what our life was. I mean, during hurricane, we had electric outages, in Florida, and we played Monopoly. And so me and the girls and Eddie, we'd be playing, and we couldn't understand why he would always move his piece. Like he'd be at finish line and we'd already be like, like 20 squares back. And I was just like, I don't understand how Eddie's moving his pieces. Well, Eddie, he would always sneeze or something and blow out the candles. We had candles on the table. No, he was moving his piece forward and moving ours back.
Oh my god! And moving yours back too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
So
shit.
the gimmick was the shit you put up with. So the gimmick was real.
Oh yeah.
It was a
wife and
shoot.
kids.
It was a shoot.
Oh
All
my
day
god!
long. All day
Who got
long.
Who got more chancletazos, Eddie or the kids?
You didn't get none at all.
None at all. Oh my god! So question for you. I want to know about your family because, especially with the Dominic angle, right? I've heard you say that your family was calling you and like, oh my god, is it real? They weren't sure with the shoot or not.
We still think it's a shoot.
I'm curious. I'm curious. Who gave Eddie the most shade from your family?
You know, gosh, it'd probably be all the tias and tios. You know, they were old fashioned. You know, they were like, you know, family is everything, mijo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how dare you do this to Vicky publicly? You're humiliating our family. You know,
and my god.
After my aunts were calling me, you know, after a while, you know, this storyline took maybe 6 months, 8 months, because they really built it up. And so maybe after month 5, I wasn't even involved in the storyline yet. I was getting calls and I'm like, son of a bitch. Like,
wow.
This is real. Like this, I started thinking that things were going on. I'm like, do you really have a son? Like, does this really
Oh
because
my
it's
god.
all mind games. You know, you watch it every night and you're involved.
Yeah.
You know, the fans are loving it. And then, you know, Vince called and was getting the family involved, and my aunts were the worst. I mean, they would call me,
god.
Mija, I thought Eddie loved you. Like, I thought he loved you. Like, how dare he do this? And, los poran hijas, are they okay? And I'm like, we're okay, tia. Like, we're good, you know?
Wow.
And
Did any of them offer to, anybody offer, like, to do some shit to him?
Well.
Oh. Yes.
So, in El Paso, we have a lot of cousins, and they were in gangs. You know, that was a thing to do back in the 80s and 90s. So a couple of my cousins were like, man, prima, let's go for it. Like, I have my friends. Like, I can call them, and we'll take care of this shit. And I was like,
my god.
At first, I was like, man, this could be really good for me. But, you know, but no, I had, you know, we had to play along because we didn't want the family, you know, to get, you know, too involved. But it was touch and go for a while because I would look at Eddie and like just stare at him like, you touched her, didn't you? You did touch her, didn't you?
God damn. Must have been some awkward Christmas parties.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Awkward plane rides when we're all flying in together. How's that?
Oh, no. Crossing each other in the bathroom. That's small talk. Oh,
Guerrero's on one side, Guerrero's on the other side.
Oh, man. Listen, I mean, people to this day, that storyline still lives on. And with Dominic being on screen, I mean, that's all you hear. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It was really good times back then. Yeah.
Well, definitely was.
How do you feel about seeing Dominic now? Right? Dominic's got a role.
My heart is, I feel so old, and my heart breaks because I'm so proud of him. I mean, he's the next generation, and he's going to carry the legacy. And it's so funny because I joked that, you know, Dominic's so tall and Ray's, you know, short. But
you're the only one?
He grew tall. Like, who would have thought he would be taller than Ray? But I'm so proud of him, and I'm so happy to see the journey that he's going to have because he's talented just like his dad and his uncles. And it's going to be such a, I'm a fan of him already. So whatever he's going to do, like, he has all my support. And I know Eddie would be really proud of him too.
And I know for a fact in the company, he's definitely going to be loved because the spots that he's gotten, they don't give that to everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't let Brock Lesnar don't beat up on anybody now.
When we saw that, we were like, "Oh my God, he's fucking made it." That's amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean Dominic got, already to work with Brock Lesnar, like that's huge, you know.
Yeah,
it's huge. So, it looked like it hurt, so I just kind of like watched from afar. And he did a great job. So he's gonna make it big. Yeah.
So speaking about upcoming talents, I mean, there's so many different promotions, so many different superstars blowing up right now, and you are one of the greatest managers of all time, right? Who would you want? She says, "Don't do that."
Such a modest.
I like that. I gotta like that.
Say it again.
Like the sun. Hold on. No.
Wait.
Stop. Say it
I gotta
again.
gather my thoughts. I gotta gather my thoughts now. Who would you want to manage? Who do you see that's up and coming that you're looking forward to seeing their work?
Man, I've been watching AEW a lot. I'm a big fan of their product. And this week on my podcast, I have Brandy Rhodes.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So she is amazing. But I would love to manage Riho. I think she'd be, because she's, doesn't have the same, language barriers. Mm-hmm. I think she's incredible. I would love to manage her. And also when Ronda Rousey was in WWE, I thought that, I could have been a great manager for her because her promos suck.
Yo!
You have been well documented in saying so, yes.
Yeah.
The Paul Heyman to her Brock Lesnar, yo. Wow. Yeah, that would have been a match.
That would have worked. I would have loved to see that.
And I asked WWE and they said no, so you just have to kind of all you can do is let them know, this would have been a lot of fun. But Ronda is incredibly talented, and I want her on my side, not on the other side of her. But everyone could always use a good manager, that has good. She wasn't good verbally, but man, her talent was incredible. Yeah. With strength and endurance. So those are the people that I always look at. Who's not strong on the mic. That's who I would want to be, working with.
Well, it's not too late. It's not too late. That's one that's got to be tabled. Hey.
I know.
When you say that, it's also well documented that you love it. You love the business, and if they come calling, right, you'd come back, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have NWA now and AEW, and you have TNA. I'm putting it out there. I miss the ring every day. So if anyone wanted to grace me with their presence, I would be. I'd willing to take them.
That was what I was gonna follow with that. If it mattered, but wow, that's good. That's amazing to hear.
I love it. I love the work, and I miss it. And being on the couch and watching the shows, I'm watching people do their promos. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You know what I would love? Yes. I would love to hear
the same thing.
This promo. And then all of a sudden, I just hear, "Excuse me!"
Oh.
That'd be fun.
I'm just saying.
I'm
just saying.
That would be a lot of fun, and who knew that 2 words was gonna, make me popular? I mean, it's the grace of God that, blessed me with so much of this, blessings to have these, 2 words, excuse me, to let people know that made me famous. So it's, to be able to use it again, I would love to, because now I'm not going to school anymore, so I'm not busy.
There you go. Okay. It's amazing how, kind of the hashtag fail better. It's essentially, you've mentioned how you came up with the excuse me, right? You kind of forgot your lines, and then you kind of try to get the attention of the crowd. I'm trying to be polite here.
I didn't know this. What are you talking about?
You did this to me. I'm trying to be polite.
I was talking about popcorn, eating the shit up.
It's just I didn't kind of forget. I fucked up my lines. It was horrible. But that's what happens. I was young back then, with the character, and they changed my promo 5 or 6 times before we went live. Within an hour. Wow. And Teddy Long, I talk about this. He was pushing me in the wheelchair because I was really hurt. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, from the Tombstone, of course.
Yeah. And he kept
terrible guy.
He kept watching these scripts come into me, and they kept changing and longer and getting short and then long again. And he just looked at me and he goes, "You're gonna screw this up, playa." Yeah. It's going to be that night. It's going to be tonight. I screw it up.
And look,
did you though?
No. You changed the wrestling industry.
I'm a little part of it. I'm a little part of something that's such a great thing to be, a part of a family, So I always try and just be that little credit, that produces the big picture. And that's what I think of it as.
Very nice. Very nice.
So you know some notable feuds that you may have had, well documented as well. Can you talk to me about your feud with AJ Lee?
Ooh.
I like how you say documented views. Because I can't lie here. I can't lie. No, me and AJ Lee had some great stuff together in the ring. She's so talented, and I just don't think that we personally connected, like as far as like having friendship. But even though if I didn't get along with someone in the locker room or we had differences, when I stepped into that ring, I gave 100% to whoever I was going to be working with. And in the ring, we made some great magic together, and she's so talented, and her promos and her speaking skills, I had so much fun with it because we kind of fed off each other. And, so yeah, I mean, those are good times, but would I say that I call her for breakfast? No. But there's people in every workplace that you don't have the best relationship, but you have all the respect for them because she's one hell of a superstar.
Most definitely.